Hello, I am Diane, and today I'm going to show you how to make a very simple face mask. The materials that you need are 2 pieces of fabric, 10 inches by 6 inches. It's best if the fabrics are different so that you can always know which side you're wearing towards your face, so you keep the germs off of your face. You will need some pins, some sort of a marking tool, a seam gauge or a tape measure to measure, 2 pieces of elastic 9 inches long, some scissors, and that's what you'll need. So to start, you're going to put your 2 pieces with the right sides together. So I have my right side of fabric 1 and my right side of fabric 2 together. And you're going to sew using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. You can pin this if you feel more comfortable, but not necessarily necessary. You're going to back stitch at the beginning and at the end of each of your seams. And then you're just going to come around and sew the other side as well. Back stitch, sew your seam, and back stitch. Now you have your long edges sewn. You're going to turn those so that they're right side out. And it's easier if you kind of press with your finger and thumbnail the seams so that they're apart, and just kind of do a thumbnail quick press. And that way the seams are apart and you don't have to fight with trying to get them apart when you press them. So I'm just pressing it with my thumbnail. Then I'm going to go over to my iron. And you're just going to press those so that you have a nice press. You're going to come back to the sewing machine and you're going to do an edge stitch right close to the edge of your folded line. So you're going to stitch this side and this side. So whatever works for your machine to get a nice edge stitch. Again, back stitch at the first. Sew your seam. Back stitch at the end, and then you're going to just do the same thing on this other folded edge. Clip your threads. So now you have both of your right sides, your right side of fabric 1 and your right side of fabric 2. Now you're going to come back to the iron, and you need either a tape measure or a seam gauge. You're going to measure 5/8 of an inch on each of the short ends. So I'm measuring 5/8 inch with my seam gauge, and I'm going to just press that down. And the same thing on the other side. Measure 5/8 inch on your seam gauge and press that down. come back to your sewing machine. You're going to want to do a zigzag stitch, and you're going to want the stitch width on 2 and the length, the stitch width on 2.5 and the stitch length on 2. And you're going to zigzag right along the raw edge of your fabric. Make sure it's right on the edge. The purpose of this is to finish off the edges as well as make your casing for your elastic. Be sure and back stitch front and back. And come and do the other side the same way. Your edge stitching right close to the edge of your fabric, the raw edge of your fabric. Clip your threads. Okay, so now you have your face mask is almost done. Now you're going to take 2 pieces of elastic that are 9 inches long, and you're going to take a safety pin. You're going to put the safety pin on one end of your elastic, clip your safety pin closed, then you're going to thread the head of your safety pin inside the casing that you have created. There. And then you're just going to, with your fingers, just push that safety pin along the casing, and it's bringing the elastic inside the casing. I have a smaller safety pin. A little bit bigger one would work faster, but this works well as well. Then you're just going to pull that so that you've got both ends showing. You've got elastic on both ends. Then you're going to do the same thing with the other side. Putting that in and pulling it with your fingers across. Okay, so once you have your elastic in, you're going to take your seam gauge and you're going to measure 1/2 inch and mark that. So I have marked on one end of each of the elastic. Now you're going to hold your 2 pieces of elastic like that and just kind of pull so that you have more elastic out. And where you have, make sure your elastic is straight and even. And where you have your marked edge, you're going to put this edge of the elastic right next to that mark. So you've overlapped your elastic 1/2 inch. Put a pin there so that it's nice and secure. And do the same with the other side. So you're going to pull the elastic so that you've got more elastic to work with. And then you're going to overlap to that marked line, and you're going to put a pin there. Now you're going to come to your sewing machine, and you already have a zigzag stitch, and that's the stitch you're going to need to finish this elastic. You're going to keep your pin in the elastic just until you get it underneath your presser foot. Once you have it under your presser foot, then you got to make sure that that bottom piece isn't curling under. Okay, then just put your needle down into your elastic and then take out your pin. Don't sew this with your pin or you'll break a needle. Back stitch and just sew that elastic so that it's nice and solid. Do the same thing with the other side. You're going to place it underneath so that your presser foot is on. You're going to plant your needle down, take out your pin, and then zigzag. Go back and forth to make sure that's a good stitch that will keep that elastic together. Clip your threads. So now you have your two pieces of elastic, or your two ends of elastic are joined together on both sides. And now you're going to pull the elastic so that that seam goes inside the casing. So see, now I don't see the seam. Do the same thing on this other side. Just keep pulling that through until you don't see that seam anymore. Okay, the last step is to hold on to your elastic and just pull that as tight as you can so it makes a lot of gathers. Do that on both sides. And there you have your face mask. Thank you very much.